Do not look at the sun. Do not look at the sun. Do not look at the sun. Do not look at the sun.
Okay, actually, so we're just gonna do it a fancy way.
The experience with recording this EP with Scooter, it was very different than last time. I actually really enjoyed that he did things a little differently. Like usually you would go in, do drums day one, and then guitar, bass, and then vocals last. But how he did it was he saved the drums for last so that whenever we'd have any changes, I could change them.
Just went in day by day. The way we did it was each instrument would go at a time, so we wouldn't do songs at a time, we'd do instruments at a time. So I went in, I think it took a day and a half to go just song by song, knocked it out as fast as possible.
Scooter was also very productive with his time. The way he just kept things moving, whenever we made a mistake, he just stopped it, cut it out, restarted it right away. No speaking was even needed.
Run, get away from the sun! Run, get away from the sun! The time has come to unite. We're in the fight of our lives. Now will you open your eyes or let us die? So stand beside one another. If we work with each other, we could come out alive to see blue skies.
This process was definitely a lot faster. That being said, that we spent a lot more time writing the songs, and because we didn't demo them with our first album, we wrote them and then we went into the studio. We were with Noah and we had really no idea what we were doing, and he kind of held our hand through that whole process and helped us change everything that should have already been done in demoing. And then that also took a span of 3 or 4 months, I think we were recording it. We were just really struggling to get the funds for it and then figure it all out. So that was a very slow process.
It's the star of the year.
Demoing at Jordan's house actually helped us out a lot during this process because we could hear every little minute detail and see if it worked in unison, while in contrast to that, for the first album we'd show up to the studio with half-baked ideas and things didn't work all the time and it was just kind of a mess.
It took a lot of time and effort to just get all the demos down, but doing that really just saved a lot of hassle in the studio. We already knew what sounded good and what we wanted it to sound like.
It's never scheduled or anything, it's just Gabe calling you on the phone saying, I got an idea, come to Jordan's right now, blah, blah, blah. And then you just rush over there as fast as possible, and we're all cramped into a small bedroom in a basement. Basically, it's two of us sitting on a bed, one of us sitting on a drum throne, and the other one producing, which is Jordan. It's just a crazy process because you see a song developing in front of your eyes. Like, you can go to the bathroom and then you come back and there's a whole verse that you didn't hear before you went. That's just how the songs are written, a bunch of bathroom breaks.
We'll figure out what we want to do for like the melodies and how we want me to sing certain parts, what's screamed, what's sung, what's, I guess, spoken. And then from there, we go on and we sort of piece it together to this really, really, really rough track. And when I say rough, I mean by the time we record it in the studio, it sounds completely different. Like everything else for the most part, the drums, the bass, the guitar, that's pretty much how it's gonna be. They'll tweak it throughout recording, but vocal-wise, it's completely different. It's all like, hey, these are the lyrics, this is the rhythm that they go in. And then we figure out the tones and the pitches for the majority in the studio while I'm singing it.
Working with Christian Grey was really cool. He definitely added a lot of elements into our song. We had a demo for Parasite and we just sent it over to him, see what he thought. He changed some of the guitar and drums, which was really cool. He really added a lot more energy and power into the song. It just sounded more of like a final product.
We finished our first album in 2018 and released it in March of 2019. And it wasn't very long until we found Christian's band, Villain of the Story. So we thought we'd ask Christian to be a feature on our next project. And that was maybe in the summer of 2019. So before we even had anything, any ideas or any concept of what this EP would sound like, we had Christian Grey.
The name came about after Christian sent us his kind of version mix of the song. We got that around wintertime too when we were demoing all the other songs put together. Parasite was just like, you got stuff going on in your head, you're trying to get it out but you can't, you're just kind of stuck in that corner in your dark black room freaking out kind of, and you just got parasites running in your head.
The recording itself of the songs, I felt like I was pushed not only by Scooter but the band entirely to create a new sound and sing in a much higher tone than I'm used to. I usually only sing in a lot of the keys that we played in for this EP when I'm singing like show choir or like some sort of like musical theater kind of song. So to be doing that with distortion was definitely a lot different, a lot more difficult, and it definitely challenged me, but I'm glad that I figured out that I was able to do it.
Forgetting every time I hear your voice. When I'm alone and you're away from me, whiskey scenario is all I say. I can't stop the feeling. You've got a secret, I won't let you keep it. You tell me the fuck. You've got a secret, you won't let me. Fuck.
I keep getting lost in the lyrics.
For guitar, I tried to really stay true to the simple but effective heavy-hitting riffs from the first record. It's more in service to the song and what it really needs for that song in particular, but I still wanted it to be catchy, fun to listen to, and fun to play.
I need to know that you're with me. Show me now, show me this is real. Dragging me down with the way that I will be. Show me how you feel.
I do the heavy vocals, especially the higher ones. I hold it in like the front of my head so I don't cause any damage. I like vibrate my soft palate, and then I hold the tone in the front of my head so I don't cause any damage to my vocal cords, and that gives me the worst fucking headache in the world. So there was a couple times where I nearly passed out, and Scooter was like, hey, you're around? I was like, yeah, let's just do one more, just get it done with. And then we'd get done, he's like, all right, you can come out to the studio, and I'd go and I'd sleep for probably 15, 20 minutes. I'd take a nap, and then I'd go back in and I'd record some more. Gavin! Fuck out of here, Simon! Fucking kill you!
Having Simon in the band, especially for this EP, is a lot different than last time because I feel like we're just a lot more efficient with the bass parts. They came out a lot cleaner, a lot better. There was a lot more attention put towards them.
Not only has the bass been taken out of my hands so I can focus on just singing, but Simon brings a hell of a great show to stage. Definitely glad that we do have Simon in the band. He has been a great addition to us creatively and performing wise. Yeah, just overall I enjoy having him here.
My goal for bass on the EP was definitely to bring something different into the mix because a lot of the songs on the first album had a lot of the same bass parts that were just written from the guitar part. Bass for Tick was probably the hardest song out of all of them for me just because it was the first thing I ever recorded in the studio, period. So getting used to how Scooter worked and the speed of it because he's rapid fire, and everything, especially on bass, out of all the instruments, needs to be absolutely perfect to keep the foundation of the song. And the very first thing you hear instrumental-wise on the EP is that bass part, so we had to make sure it was as precise as possible.
Does that first one sound in tune?
So when we went into the studio, we actually only had full lyrics for 2 of the songs, and that was Tick and Parasite. So Gabe and I had to go into the vocal booth while everyone else was working on other things to write the lyrics for the rest of the songs. I usually don't write lyrics, but it was actually pretty fun. Most of my help was for Leave Me. It's definitely different, and I would definitely do that again.
So for the whole EP in general, I've been really busy in life. My dad passed away, and then, the virus was happening, and I was working a lot and whatnot. So I actually didn't get to write quite as much lyrically for this as I would have liked to. There was an incident that did happen at home. I won't go into details on it with who all was involved, but that basically stemmed from Child's Play, which I feel like I did the bulk of like the writing with lyric-wise and the emotion behind it with the topic of it, and that was a song that I really put most of my energy into. I just had to sort of let it all out, and I think that definitely showed in the studio too.
Let's hit a low octave on that chorus.
On the last album, I did a few screams, if you would even call them that. They're more shouts. I didn't really know what I was doing. It was more just, the band encouraged me to hop on some tracks like the audience. I just wanted to put something on there, and I'm not very proud of that stuff looking back on it. But now I managed to be in a spot where I can definitely keep improving and growing as a vocalist, heavy vocalist. But I feel much more proud of my performance on this EP vocally. I found a sound that I think fits what I'm going for. Overall, just managed to come out of my shell a lot more as a vocalist and do a lot more, contribute more, not just vocally but lyrically to this project than I had before.
Put me out on the breakdown.
Why you can run from me? So you come out with
So our EP is called Paroxysm, and if you don't know what that means, it's just basically a worsening of symptoms. It's a medical term.
This applies to pretty much every single one of our songs on this EP. For example, Tick is a reference to our previous song Doomsday off our first record, and so Tick isn't a lyric in the song directly, but a reference is the Doomsday Clock, which is from Doomsday as well. And so it's just all a continuous storyline about coming together for your survival in a world that's going downhill constantly. And so we went with that idea for the EP.
We wanted the art to kind of match that, obviously. So we really wanted it to be simple and sleek, but we wanted it to look chaotic at the same time. So we just went with that red design of just mess, you know, but it turned out great.
When we got that design was the same day we finished filming our music video for Tick, which was a really fun process with our director, Vince Lundy.
We were actually writing the narrative and coming up with the ideas and look of the video in the studio. It was mostly Gabe's vision, and we just incorporated onto that.
He came to us with this idea, and we originally ran into the bump because we were going to try to shoot it all in one day, which now I'm very glad that we didn't, just because of how much time we ended up spending on it. I think that it was better to shoot it 2 separate days.
We wanted absolutely no snow in the video, and that's kind of hard to do in Ohio when it's 10 to 15 degrees outside. So we had a lot of last minute decisions to make, including weather, scheduling, crew, because a lot of people dropped out, and it's kind of unorganized, but it came out really well. We were not supposed to be in the video for the narrative part, but we ended up doing so.
We were thinking about how we could fit into the theme of the song of the end of the world, and we wanted to kind of show this kind of post-apocalyptic world where it's pretty much listen to the song and take its premise into account and act upon it, because if you don't, you'll be in this video kind of world.
We actually almost weren't able to shoot that day because we lost, I want to say, like 7 people that morning, and we were kind of fucked. We were the ones trying to get the big water barrel, even though that wasn't the original plan, but I'm glad that's how we did it, because I feel like we did a really good job with it, and also that sort of put us more involved in the video, and we were able to really take it into our own hands.
Favorite song to record on the EP was definitely The Calling. The picking pattern of it and the way you just move your fingers down the neck is just the most satisfying thing on planet Earth.
The bass part is so satisfying to play. If you're a drummer, I'd recommend playing it because holy crap, it is so fun. It just feels like playtime.
Yeah. So we out here, Guitar Center, because I got strings for The Calling on my 7th string, but they're too thin.
Yeah,
So I just fucking
Way too thin.
throw them away. Throw away brand new strings and get a new pair.
That's not good.
No.
Can I have a street tweet, please? And the Wiener Schnitzel. The Wiener Schnitzel.
When I hear the calling, I relapse like I always do. I come back to rolling. I collapse and I give my all to you.
The Calling is a song about addiction, whether it be a person or a personified drug or any bad habit. And overall, these songs, like I mentioned before, all tie into the overall theme of a paroxysm or worsening conditions or circumstances. We actually had a sixth song. We have 6 tracks on the EP, but one is just an intro called Ascension, which is just kind of like a prelude to Tick. But we had a 6th full-length song, which would be 7 tracks on the EP total. It would come after The Calling and replace that as the final track on the EP. And it was a very heavy song as far as emotionally and lyrically, the content on it. I actually was gonna do clean vocals for the first time for anything that we've done as a band, but not only was it just not on the level that I wanted to be on as far as vocals, I don't think I'm ready yet for that, but the song overall just didn't feel fleshed out thoroughly enough for the mature and very heavy and important content that was on it lyrically.
When we were demoing that song, it was going well and we thought we had a good foundation, but going into the studio, all the other songs were definitely just on a way higher level than that one.
One, it didn't quite fit the rest of the vibe for the EP. It didn't quite fit the rest of the songs as well as we thought it was going to. And then 2, I feel like we didn't spend enough time on it, so it wasn't ready. It's a very good like baseline of what we want for it to be, but we got to put way more into it. It's supposed to be a really big, really beautiful song, very emotional, like a ballad. But we definitely want to take a lot more time to add the proper instruments and give it the attention that it deserves.
Honestly, we wrote the last songs in order just to play them out live and just to have songs, but these ones really felt like they meant something.
It was fun. Honestly, I hate recording. It drives me insane just because it's the same thing over and over and over and over again. But overall, it was pretty fun.